Now, your job as an actor is to completely own the emotion. Now, what does that mean? It means that you're literally going to go into complete frequency, the resonance, you're going to soak yourself within that emotion. And then you're going to be able to let yourself go into an experience where you don't have any control of that emotion and you're literally throwing that over into your acting partner. Now, my name is Simon Blake. I've seen over 8,000 acting classes. I've have more than 6 books, acting books. I'm working all kinds of things. So look, the thing about this is that you got to trust yourself. You're working to be able to build. I've got emotions books, over 700 emotions, and each one of these emotions are specific. So what you're working to be able to achieve, and when you know that you're actually achieving with the confidence, with your acting, and this is true for music videos too, your job is to own the emotion. The owning of the emotion is to be able to know that you've activated the emotion to the point where it's completely resonating with you. So you're going to feel the visceral effect of, could be that you're crying, it could be that you're elatedly happy, it could be that you're joyful because you've just won the lottery. You've got this thing that's working within you that's got this like visceral effect of this thing is active in you. But then there's the interesting thing that happens that you're entering into the scene. And you're entering into the scene and you really don't know what's going to happen because you now are throwing yourself into what needs to be a vulnerable situation of sorts where you're literally vulnerable enough that you're in a situation where your acting interactions happened. And now the other actor means something to you. And that could be that you want to share in the excitement of joy of winning the lottery, or you want to have the incredible experience of you want to share the fact that someone's just I don't know, giving birth to a baby, and you're so excited that your neighbor's done that. Or maybe um, in some scenes you might be that they've just discovered that they need to be taken to the hospital. They're completely excited about the fact that you need the person to give you a ride to the hospital, and that could be the acting scene. So but the thing is, you're drenching yourself within the resonance of that emotion, and that means that there's a difference between character traits and emotions. Character trait can sometimes be a connection to the instincts. It can be a part of it. Now, there's a difference between feelings and there's a difference between emotions. The feeling is going to be the inclination of the thing is going to be probably from about here up is going to be the feeling aspect of the emotional experience, and then after it goes deeper, it goes into an emotion. The emotion gets resonated, vibrated. But the actual scene, in order to create a real time happening within the scene, so your job before the scene happens is to be able to own the emotion. And then your job as an actor is to be able to trust that the other actor is activating your emotion. And you just go back and forth. It's like this is just like swimming. You go in, you dive in the pool, and you have to trust that the water is going to catch you. And then you get out and you dry off, and then you go back in the pool, you dive in, and it's the same thing with emotion. So you're diving into the emotion, you're diving into the water. You know that you're diving into a different frequency. You know you're diving into a solid place. You're diving into the relationship with your scene partner. You're expanding yourself so that you've already done everything you could to activate yourself. Now I call emotional preparation emotional activation, because you have the last step of emotional preparation has to be activation. So the activation of your emotion, you drench yourself in it. You get yourself completely, absolutely in whatever the emotion is. And believe me, there's at least 750 plus emotions. They're really, really, really important for actors. And most actors only work within, I don't know, like a small percentage of emotions. Most actors are they are familiar with maybe a dozen emotions, maybe 2 dozen emotions at most. And you get into the habit of being able to just own it. You own the emotion and you go into the experience. Look, the reason why the singers are so good sometimes with some of the songs that that they've written or that they have written for them and then they go and sing is that because they practice the ability of going into something and some sort of emotion triggers in them. Often they don't even have the technique of emotional preparation, which is incredible because they're by happenstance activating an emotion by one of the many techniques that there are to activate emotions. And it just happens to come out with a song. And they've practiced being able to get that emotion and then be able to put it into interaction. So at that point that they're really trusting the audience is going to start getting that emotion and they're going to go back and forth. So you drench yourself, you own yourself into the emotion completely. But during the acting interaction, during the singing of the actual song for the artist, you you completely trust that there's going to be this element that's going to work in like it's going to like just work. You just trust that there's going to be a new fresh real-time experience within your acting or within your song or when you're singing within your audience. In that trust is allowing yourself to switch from what's the emotional activation side of it, where you're self activating your emotion, and then you throw yourself over into the being side. Now, if you want an example of this, some of the best artists will absolutely, they will know, they'll call it the I don't care moment. They literally know that there's a moment where they work really hard on all their work, and then there's a moment where they leap into something that's going to be an unknown experience, and it's an experience of that that they don't care anymore. But it's not that they don't care; it's that they've released the fact that they feel that they have to activate anything, that they have to do anything, and then they know that at that point on, they just leap into it. And you can see them in concerts. They will literally be in between songs, check in with themselves just a little bit, not always. Sometimes the concerts will flow with the set list, but sometimes you'll see that element come between the song sets, the sets of the one song to another song if they don't flow in very well. And you'll see them activate that thing. Now that in essence is emotional activation. That in essence is emotional preparation. Those are the moments of where they're tuning themselves in with the different things. Often, you know, that will you can actually see it happen on stage. So the actor's job within this whole confine is to be able to throw yourself in to depth, the depth of yourself. You just trust it. You just go in and you trust it, and you throw yourself into self-activation components, and then you leap into and you let that catapult you into an unknown, completely a new, fresh, real-time experience. And that is exactly how you want to be able to own the emotion. You let the emotion completely, if the emotion shows during the real-time experience, then it shows. But you're going to be able to read your emotion off of the face of the other actor. And then that's going to be able to catapult the acting because now you're working off of them. You're not working off of your own self activation of your own emotion, not during the acting experience. So this is a critical component to be able to practice. And you just practice, you get into a different emotional range. You figure out a different emotional range. You don't judge the way that you get the emotion. It could come from a past experience. It could come from a daydream. It could come from a daydream that you never, ever thought would ever activate emotion in you. And that could be part of your human growth, development, et cetera, et cetera. So you work with that. You don't judge it. You let that be activated. And then you let that go in and you go in and it's going to be a vulnerable state where you don't know the final outcome exactly. And that is going to be able to do this. Now, look, I've got a lot of books to work on. There's a 2,300 reasons to knock at the door. You can work on emotional preparations and work off of that book for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. It's called Reasons to Knock by Simon Blake, myself. And there's also Meisner Activities books. There is Emotional Preparation, the book by Simon Blake. If you look that up, you'll see it. And it's over 700 emotions. It's in 3 volumes, and you can get a hardback copy as well. And it will literally be, you can go in and you can start to expand and you can work those different emotional frequencies. And that will make your talent, anything that's able to activate emotion is talent. That will get your talent to be activated, raw, real, and will come up in you. And then you'll be able to jump out of that and then jump into an experience. And then your experience will completely depend upon the other actor. And that will be just tremendous experience for you. You practice that over and over and over and over and over. And that's how useful these books are. So anyway, thanks a lot. Thank you.